Welcome back, guys, to another roundtable. My name is Adam. With me once again, Rusmin.
Hi, everyone.
And Victor.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you so much for joining us. And today we're going to talk about Netflix. Many people love Netflix. You guys love to Netflix and chill?
Yep. Just become a subscriber of Netflix.
But do you like to Netflix and chill?
Definitely.
Okay, so we're going to talk about Netflix and whether there's an opportunity to take a look at the stock, because since its peak in November last year, its stock price has crashed by 50% at this point of this recording. Yeah. So 50% is a pretty big drop, and we want to find out what's happening and whether there's an opportunity to have a look at that stock right now. Okay, so I think a pretty quick recap of why Netflix has dropped so much.
Yep. So I think recently they came out in of course with a lot of the interest rate thing and all those growth stock get hit by those high multiple stocks get affected. On top of that, I think when they released the fourth quarter results, their revenue and net profit actually beat the earnings estimate. Mm-hmm. Okay, but I think the general investor sentiments, they don't look at the revenue and net profit. They look at the subscriber. So the subscriber base actually slowed down. So that was the main key for this coming one.
Yeah. Right? So they actually forecasted to have gain a subscriber base of about 2.5 million in the first quarter of 2022. Okay, this is way significantly lower as compared to the 2021. It's the lowest year of subscriber growth in the whole last 4 years. Okay. So basically growth slowed down.
Yeah, I think investors looks at Netflix in a very interesting way. I mean, Adam, you just now was sharing about...
I think I remember having a look at Netflix many years ago. Okay, and I remember one quarter where I think the earnings and revenue wasn't really a beat. They missed it kind of. But the subscriber growth was tremendous. And it just jumped 40% in one day. So the investors were basically looking at subscriber growth for Netflix over other metrics. Because I think at the end of the day, subscriber growth would flow down to everything else. Yep. So that's what they're looking at. So what you're saying is that the growth for subscribers has slowed down significantly.
Even let's say we were to annualize based on their forecasted growth for first quarter based on 2.5 million, they're going to add about 10 million. And if you compare 10 million net add in 2022 potentially, right, versus 2021, they are adding about close to 20 million. And in 2018, 2019, they are hitting about close to 30 million. Okay, 2020 was a fabulous year, right? They actually hit about close to more than 35 million.
Because of the pandemic.
Because of the lockdown. And people are forced to sign up for Netflix and watch Netflix and chill.
So you got slow subscriber base plus increasing competition. And of course, I think 2 days ago, Discovery actually announced that the shareholder actually approved the merger with Warner Media, right? Okay. Yeah. So, wow, the competition is really heating up in the space of streaming, man.
So I think all these factors have kind of like pushed the price down. I think maybe it was also overheated in the first place since the pandemic boost and everything.
Yes.
So 50% drop, pretty big at this point. Okay, so I think... the question is, can Netflix actually get back to its old days of growth? I mean, maybe not pre-pandemic because they were still smaller then. Because they were growing very, very fast and there was less competition. But do you think they can, reboot their growth?
I think you ask Bill Ackman, maybe he'll say yes, because he actually bought a huge stake in Netflix and become the top 20 largest shareholder, right? Okay. So if you look at the Netflix, the subscription growth over the last 5-7 years, it has been growing slowly and steadily. And today they're about close to 220 million in total subscriber, right? And obviously, if you look at the runway in terms of the total global pay TV subscribers, as of 2021, there are about close to 1 billion household. Okay, so typically for cable TV, you have one household, right, and then shared among all your family members. So if based on 1 billion, obviously this includes China, which account about 325 million, right, and also Russia, which is about 42 million, where Netflix just pulled out. Okay, so if you exclude Russia and China market, I think total addressable market for Netflix is going to be, based on global pay TV, is going to be about 620 million, thereabout.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, so I think based on currently their number of users that they have is about 220 million. So potentially, they still have about 400 million of runway to go. Okay, but now if you look at how we consume Netflix, okay, for an account on Netflix, you can have multiple users, right?
Yep.
So, and that multiple user can be used across multiple households. Right? For my case, I have 4 households. Okay,
One Netflix account with 4 households.
one Netflix account, but of
Alright.
course there are 4 users. So
I want
4
Netflix to know about that. Okay. Well, I think they do. They do
Yeah.
know about it.
They
They've
do know
acknowledged
about
that
it. Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
So you're saying one Netflix account for you, 4 households,
4
Mine is
households.
3 households.
3 households.
Yeah.
So in the past with cable TV,
Yeah.
you only have one cable TV for one household.
Yeah.
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 Okay, so based on like 400 million of runway left, so let's say on average each Netflix account has 2 households. Okay, so that you divide it by half, then you are about 200 over million user left for runway for the Netflix to acquire the new users.
Yep.
Okay, so
Yeah.
what you're saying is that at this point, based on your calculations and the way you perceive things, Netflix can at most double up.
Yep. Yeah.
Over the next many years.
Over
the
not
next many
5
years.
years for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the 600 million, like what we have mentioned, right? Some people have cable TVs and they
Yeah.
also have Netflix at the same time. That's why you minus
Yes.
off the 200 million.
Correct.
Yeah. So like in our case also, we still have subscribed to cable TV. So the old people, my father-in-law, they're still watching it.
Yep.
And the young millennials like us, I'm not millennials, but
Gen Y.
Gen Y.
Gen Y.
And of course, then we
The younger
usually,
generation even further, right?
younger generation,
Yeah.
people around our age, we
Yeah.
usually watch Netflix
Yeah.
or even Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Right?
Alright.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is basically you're using the old size of the cable TV market.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that
Yeah.
was at 1 billion
Yes.
globally, but that was includes
China,
China,
and
and Russia
Russia.
as well.
Yeah.
So if you remove that, there's 600 million
Yes.
left in total, and
Yeah.
Netflix is already at 220 million.
Correct.
Yes.
And then you're saying some of them, not all of them, will become subscribers,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
will share accounts.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you conservatively think that it could just double
At
up.
most double up.
Double
up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Over the next maybe 20 years. Right. Yeah. Or
Alright.
10, 20 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I think you seeing that the growth is actually
Slow
is slowing down.
Slowing
It's-
down.
In
Yep.
fact, I think it is slowing down. So I think the only way Netflix can grow is obviously they have been increasing the prices,
Mhm.
right? So this is something where hopefully it can help to lift the growth in terms of revenue. But based on your observation, I think people still look at the net ad subscriber and then how they price the company share prices.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
This thing seems to be the main thing that the market looks at.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So growth is slowing down. Competition is heating up, and you're saying that this is a structural thing. This is the size of the addressable market. It's not a temporary thing where this year or next year is going to be
Yeah,
and then it goes back to normal.
Unless there's another lockdown.
We don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, if that happened, then I guess maybe the things will
Yeah.
shoot up again. But
Yeah.
that doesn't change the overall size of the market anyway.
Yeah,
right?
it doesn't change. In fact, in pandemic, if those people who didn't switch to Netflix, I think it's unlikely that they will switch to Netflix.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because pandemic is a perfect year where for people who are not, in tune to change, also have to adapt to that.
Actually, I didn't switch to Netflix during the pandemic.
So what you do?
Yeah. Uh,
So you did it Netflix and chill.
yeah, I didn't Netflix and chill during the pandemic. Yeah, I was
You cable TV and
Oh,
chill.
because my daughter just born, so I was busy with her also at that point of time.
Okay.
Yeah, I also for very long I also didn't switch to Netflix. But only recently my sister got a family account and she just passed me one. I said okay, I just take.
So that's how you got a Netflix
Yeah,
account. So it
so-
was shared with you.
Yeah.
All right. So I think you think that basically it's a structural thing. Growth is going to slow
Slowing
down in
down,
a structural way, not
Yeah.
a temporary
Yep.
way. And competition is heating up. So I mean, if any of you viewers have a different point of view, you can always share it in the comments as
Yeah.
well. But this is what you think about it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
So I think competition is heating up. Do you think Netflix is still the best OTT provider out there?
Yeah. I mean, I can share from my experience. I don't really subscribe to Netflix, but then I think when recently I got Netflix, right? Oh, I look at their original content. I really quite like their original
So you
content.
really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
so
I really enjoy it.
So it
Yeah.
works.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
really have good content.
Yeah, but provided they have to keep producing their original content, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think even for us, we never think about cancelling Netflix because
Yeah.
occasionally we'll still binge and watch, this kind of show here and there. Sometimes there are popular hits like your Squid Game, things like that. And if you look at the churn rate, across different platform, OTT platform like Apple TV Plus, Peacock, and of course your HBO Max, Discovery Plus, Disney Plus, and Netflix. The lowest churn rate among all is actually Netflix, which only have a churn rate of about 2.something%. Right, the rest is about on average, I would say above 4% to 8% thereabout. And Apple TV Plus is the worst at more than 10%. Okay, I'm one of those that actually cancelled the Apple TV subscription. It was given to me for free, right? And then I look at it, it's like sucks.
And the reason for that is because there's not enough content.
There's not enough content. And same thing with Disney Plus. I think the content was way too slow, so I actually cancelled my subscription as well.
Okay.
I think it's same for me also. I got Apple TV for free and I just go inside, look at the content, I close it, and I said, no, I don't want this Apple TV.
So at this stage, I think no doubt Netflix is still by far the best in terms of streaming. When it comes to TV and all that. Yeah.
All right. So Disney Plus, would it be a very fierce competitor for that?
I think there is a very strong competitor, but it's very niche because personally I don't watch Disney Plus, but I let my daughter watch Disney Plus.
So it's more for kids.
Yeah.
So you're not. I mean, Marvel and Star Wars not something that you watch.
Those I watch in the movie already.
Okay.
Yeah.
You watch 1 time, 2 times, and most 3 times, and then
you can't watch Captain America or Thor like 10 times, right? You get bored.
Okay. Yeah. So you're saying Netflix basically has the best and the most broad content.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it appeals to many different
Yeah.
demographics and interests. Because I think that's the thing with
Yeah.
Disney is that it's very niche in that they have a brand to protect.
Correct.
You can't put every single kind of show like. You can't put Squid Game on Disney Plus, I think. a bit weird, right? Yeah, but they can have all the blockbusters and Marvel and Star Wars and all that. But Netflix has built a brand that's pretty flexible in that sense.
Correct. But I think Netflix changed the content much faster, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Right? Because
Yeah,
for Disney Plus, I just feel that, after they come out those like special series on those Marvel, after that, then they just black out for a while.
Yeah.
I have to wait for the next,
Okay.
social media to say that, oh, there's another one.
There's Moon Knight coming up soon.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's always a challenge in this industry where churning out content is not easy. It
Yeah.
takes a lot of time, a lot of resources, a lot of talent. Okay, that's why it costs a lot of money. And if you look at Netflix, I think every year they're spending billions of dollars on content itself. Okay, look at almost all the operating cash flow that they've got over the last 5 years. They've spent almost everything on capex, which is producing new content like your Amazon or your Netflix and original, right? So these are the things where I think Netflix is, it could be. This is their mode where they strengthen it, which is good. They retain the users, but at the same time, as shareholders, I think I look at it like, it's almost like an airline industry. You spend so much money on that airline, and then at the same time, you have to spend so much to replace the airline at once it start to depreciate over time, right? So it's never ending, right? So the way I look at Netflix also, I think my main concern why I didn't look at Netflix is because they always have the issue with the capex, right? Which is something where they can't stop. The moment they stop is the moment where people will start to churn.
I think a lot of people think that is the development capex, but actually it's the maintenance capex because I really go Netflix to watch the original content. If they were to stop, probably I'm not watching it.
So what you're saying is that they have to spend a lot to produce original content
to maintain the business,
not just to gain new customers, but to maintain the current
correct.
subscribers. Because if you don't have that, you will probably just stop.
I will probably stop.
Stop. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's actually almost like you said, like an airline business. They have to continually replace the aircraft to fly.
But obviously, their model is a lot better as compared to airline because of the subscription. People are increasing prices.
And all that.
Unless they want to follow the Disney model, right? I think the Disney model makes more sense over a longer time where, when they produce the Marvel movie, right?
There are a lot of franchises.
You can actually put it in the cinema and they get back the cost of the production, right? This is the first thing. Second is that if you want to watch it on their Disney Plus, they only stream it free after 6 months. But before that, if you want to watch first, you have to pay a certain amount.
Access,
premium access. So I think if Netflix were to move that, right, then you can see that generally they can ease off the production cost and all this because the customer actually funded the production cost.
Yeah.
So you're saying Disney's model is slightly different because they are able to get back that production cost much quicker.
Yes.
And then, of course, they have a whole machinery behind the whole thing. They have your theme parks. They're opening up now.
Yep.
And your toys and all that stuff where basically it all works together.
Because their movie can even branch to the theme park, right? They can create a ride just for that movie. So it's sort of like there's a lot of different options for them to expand their revenue.
For you to spend money on Disney. Right.
Yeah. As compared to Netflix.
But then there's a different business model as well. It's a lot more expensive to run a theme park and all that. Netflix is just pure streaming.
Yeah. But of course, Netflix also already got a subscriber base down there, and they are trying to move up of just the streaming of the movie and going to, I think, games that Rusmi want to talk about, right?
Yeah, so I think they are venturing into the games. There's nothing much to talk about actually.
But I don't remember playing games on Netflix.
No one play game on Netflix, and I think the management is trying to pivot into that. So if they can do that, I think hopefully in the future people don't just go Netflix to watch show, but they also play games, right? But this is way too early to tell. But I think based on the history, how the Reed Hastings, right? I mean, he has been quite incredible for to transit the whole company from a DVD mail business into streaming business, and now of course they are going to gaming. Okay, if history repeats itself and they are successful and they can pull through this, Netflix obviously will be in the gaming market.
But that would be quite some time off.
Quite some time,
Yeah.
very early
Yeah.
at this stage.
Because
But I think it's still a question mark on that because
Yeah.
I think it's again the functionality, right?
Mhm.
So recently I was asking my sister whether will you think that Facebook Reel will be fighting the TikTok and all
Mhm.
this? She says it's again functionality. People goes to Instagram for photos. They don't go Instagram for the video. But when they go to TikTok, it's for the the video, right? So same for Netflix, right? You go down there for the movies. You not go down there for the games,
Gaming.
right? So it's still very question mark because a lot of time US companies, right, they did very well because they are very focused.
Mhm.
They are not like the the Asian companies where they put everything into one.
Mhm.
That's how I think how Asian works. I think it's a bit different from the US, but US they tend to be very focused. People remember you for that, and when they expand out, it's always another service on top of the thing. Right?
Okay.
It's another product.
So yeah, obviously, Netflix, I think the price has dropped a lot.
Yep.
Right? So
Yep.
in terms of valuation is very attractive. Okay, just that you have to be prepared for the future growth, which is a lot slower.
All right.
Yep.
So let's go into valuation at this point in time. So I think we've discussed quite a bit about Netflix and its situation. But again, every business has a price.
Yep.
Right. So
Yeah.
whether that price actually makes sense based on all the the factors that are involved.
Yeah.
So what is your valuation of Netflix at this point?
I think the Netflix, the way that we can value it is of course based on price to sales, because in some years they're still losing money, and they're spending a lot of capex and all that. So based on price to sales, I think historically they have been trading at a range of as high as 14 times to as low as 6 times. Okay, and now as we speak, I think the price to sales has dropped close to 5.
Wow. So it's a historical low
Yeah,
in terms of price to
historical low.
sales.
Yeah, so I think of course this is mainly because of the slow growth. I think most likely it's going to be structural, in my opinion. Okay, so even though it's attractive, but I don't really like the economic structure or the way that how much money, a lot of money that they spend in the content itself, and content naturally will depreciate over time, right? So
Okay.
and people crave for new contents, and this is just a norm in the industry. So I don't really like the economic nature of the whole streaming industry. Yeah, so even though it's attractive, but it's not for me.
Okay. So even at this price for you, it's not attractive enough
Yeah.
because you feel that there's just too much money that's being spent on producing content all
Yeah.
the time,
Yeah,
and they're
but-
really, really expensive.
Yeah, but for some people like Bill Ackman, maybe it's very attractive for him, so he took a big
Yep.
stake on that.
The current price is below his,
Purchase price.
Purchase
yeah,
price,
I
yeah.
think at this time we're recording the price is about 340.
Yeah, thereabouts. What about you, Victor? What do you think about Netflix?
Yeah, I'm just going to sit on the sideline. Actually, I'm not quite comfortable with the cash flow. Always have to spend on the capex.
Okay.
And all this.
Well-
So unless they give me a super no-brainer price, right?
What is the no-brainer price? Would you have one at this point?
I haven't calculated.
Haven't
it yet.
calculated.
Yeah,
But so basically, you'll wait for a lower
I'll wait.
price.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think I have no issue with companies spending a lot on capex, especially
Yeah.
those are growth capex. But the way I look at the Netflix capex is more like a maintenance capex. Okay,
Mhm.
that's the distinction there. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, argument could be made that they're spending so much now because of competition.
Yep.
But in the far future, I don't know how far that or near how far or near that would be when the industry kind of like consolidates.
Yeah.
Because right now you have so many different players, everyone's trying to get a piece of the market, and to do that, you need original content. And
Yep.
Netflix is ahead, Disney is ahead. But there will become a point where the smaller players just cannot sustain producing that content and getting the subscribers.
Yeah.
So when that happens, would it go back to the old model where Netflix basically licenses content onto their platform because they're the biggest distributor?
Yeah.
And they don't have to spend as much on content then. What do you
Yep.
think about that?
Well, it is possible that they may shift to that model, but I think at this stage you are just betting that it might happen where there's no clear
Mhm.
answer to that. Even the management didn't point to that direction.
Mhm.
So I think it's too early to tell at this stage.
Yep.
Yeah, for that possibility.
Okay.
It's almost like saying Amazon will kill all the traditional retailer, and then then
Everyone's going to shop online.
and then everyone will shop online. Then Amazon will open the retail store, which they did, but then it wasn't that scalable.
Okay.
That's what they thought versus their e-commerce
Okay.
platform. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. I mean, I actually think the industry is going to consolidate. I don't
Yeah,
know
I
when.
do.
It will
Yeah.
Eventually consolidate because not everyone can spend so much
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
for a small number of subscribers. You need scale for this kind of business.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Netflix is going to be around because first mover advantage to
Right.
the biggest.
And at this stage, of course, the main players still be around also. I mean, they're dealing with Amazon Prime, which has a lot of pockets,
Yeah,
deep pockets to spend. Disney Plus, so it's not going to stop. For HBO Max, I don't think they're going to stop. So maybe
Yep.
smaller one, those that you probably didn't subscribe.
Like
also.
Discovery basically got
Yep.
eaten up because they just can't do it on their own anymore.
Yeah.
This doesn't make
So
sense.
they have merged. They're going to merge with the
Warner Media.
Bros.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, that's what I think will happen.
Merger. It's
Yeah.
already happening actually.
Yeah.
I think the big news is when, you know, if really Netflix and Disney merge, wow, that's
not going to happen. Actually,
but that's not going to happen.
There was a case a long
Yeah.
time ago where before Disney Plus was launched, there was a case that some investors were saying, why don't you buy Netflix?
Yep.
Disney just buys Netflix. They immediately have this distribution channel, and they.
Yeah.
I mean, at that point, you had all your Marvel shows on Netflix.
Mm.
It was a simple thing just to buy the whole company, but because Netflix was so expensive, it was always priced to perfection. That's why
Yeah.
Disney never did it, and they decided to launch their own service
Yep.
in the end. But that could have been, you know, kind of like a sliding doors
Yeah.
moment if they actually did that.
Mm.
Yeah.
That would have been a super
So
super
no more Disney Plus.
yeah, super company in its own right, you know, because they have everything. All right, so I hope you liked that discussion on Netflix and, you know, its share price crash at this point in time, 50%, and what we think about it, you know, whether we think it's a good stock to have a look at. So we think you don't think it's the best investment at this point, even at this price. At
Yeah,
this
I
time.
know.
So that's our opinion. Maybe you have a different opinion. You can share your views on the OTT industry and what you think about Netflix as well. Anyone can have different markets, opinions in the markets anyway. So do share them with us if you have them. Okay, so I think this is a pretty good wrap up on Netflix at this roundtable. Thank you so much once again. So that is Rusmin.
Thank you.
That's Victor.
Thank you.
My name is Adam. Thank you so much for watching. And if you like this roundtable, please hit the like button. Tell us we're doing a great job. And of course, comments, questions, put them down. And subscribe to our channel. Many more roundtables coming up again, and we'll love to see you around. Thank you so much.